Welcome, brother. I'm JK Mazy, head coach at Porn Reboot and founder of Elevated Recovery. And today we're going to be talking about what to do when you experience very strong sexual urges in the middle of the night, which often causes you to maybe wake up and slip or relapse. Now, this is based on a question which was sent in by a brother who watches our YouTube videos. And he says, JK, my question is in regards to sexual dreams and fantasies at night. When I wake up in the middle of the night during the past couple of weeks, I've experienced some mild to intense sexual fantasies and dreams. Sometimes these fantasies even wake me up with urges right off the bat. And he mentioned that so far I'm using my morning reboot routine and the tools which you teach in the program to remain successful at managing these urges. It's been over a week since my last slip. Is this a common part of the withdrawal process? Did you or any other brothers in the group experience these dreams during your reboot? So, this is a fantastic question. Now, sexual dreams and middle of the night fantasies was something that I dealt with in my early reboot. And they're also something that lots of men in the program experience. These dreams don't affect everyone, but they are a common part of the reboot process. So, you're not alone if there's something that you struggle with as well. It's not unusual to experience wet dreams or extreme sexual fantasies when you're sleeping, and sometimes they'll wake you up. Sometimes they'll wake you up with an erection, and sometimes they'll wake you up and you'll be so out of sorts that you snap into addict mode before you even realize what's happening. And I want to assure you that this dissipates over time. They become less intense and less frequent as you progress through your reboot. Now, you may wake up occasionally in the later months, but the tools become ingrained in you at that point, and it's easier to apply a tool immediately on a mental level to get through those moments. I want to use this opportunity to talk a little bit about the history of this sort of behavior, this phenomenon of waking up in the middle of the night with an erection. This isn't random. Over the years, I noticed that this is a common experience for many people, not just men who are trying to overcome an out of control behavior with porn, sex, or masturbation. And after doing some research, I learned that people throughout history in almost every culture used to wake up at some point during the night. So before the invention of clocks and street lights and cafes actually that served coffee, people went to sleep not long after the sunset. And it wasn't until the invention of these modern conveniences that the concept of an 8-hour sleep schedule came to be. Actually, there's a great book that you can read on the topic a little bit more if you're interested. It's called At Day's Close, Nights in Time Past. It's a great book that condenses lots of research on the history of these experiences. And in it, the author, Roger Eckrich, I believe, describes the way that people pass time in the middle of the night, from spending time with their family to prayers to engaging in sexual activity. So while we now see waking up in the middle of the night as an unnatural thing, it wasn't so uncommon a few centuries ago. And it's a shared experience throughout the history of human civilization. So if you find yourself waking up in the middle of the night, it's okay to pick a few productive ways to spend that time instead of just laying in bed and feeling anxious because you can't sleep. Now, let's talk a little bit about overcoming some of these midnight fantasies. Having strong sexual fantasies, wet dreams, or even orgasming in your sleep is quite natural early in your reboots, and it may happen a few days in a row or now and then throughout the first couple of weeks of your reboot. The important thing is to understand that unless you act out your compulsive behavior, none of these experiences count as a slip, right? They're a natural part of rebooting. Now, you might still feel some negative effects when this happens. So, you might notice some sort of impact on your emotional stability. You might feel a little bit of shame or guilt, or your physical well being might feel lethargic or feel like you're lacking in focus. I want you to know it's okay. There's not much that you can do to control these unconscious reactions. It is just a conditioned response to orgasm without sex for you. So when you're conscious and you engage in it, you're going to experience these symptoms. Similarly, when you're unconscious and this happens, you will quite naturally, in some cases, experience the same symptoms. But as I mentioned, with time, it passes. The most important thing to understand is that this is happening during the early stages, especially the early stages where you're experiencing withdrawal symptoms and you're not doing anything wrong. If you're struggling with this right now, a suggestion I have is to head over to our free Porn Reboot Facebook group. There's a link to it in the description below this video, and reach out for some support. There are plenty of men in the group who know what you're going through and can offer some advice because they've been through it. Or you can get an accountability partner or even reach out to people in the group when you're not able to sleep. So we have guys from all over the world. So whenever you post, someone's going to be there. But in the meantime, brother, trust the reboot process and continue working on yourself. As you make use of the tools, as you build up your skills, as you stack up reboot capital, these midnight sexual fantasies will diminish. It's all part of working through your compulsive sexual behavior and regaining control over your life. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you've enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. I release videos like this 4 times a week, every week. And if you know 2 or 3 brothers who you feel can benefit from these videos, please go ahead and share it. That's the only way this channel grows. Thank you, and I'll see you later on in the week.